Hello, hello, my beautiful people. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Goretti and I am the counselor at Butterfly Project. So today I want to dive a little bit deeper into this topic about self-concept. And I also call it, childhood programming. It is what was imprinted in our subconscious mind from our first 6 to 10 years of life. And so I want to dive a little deeper in this because this is something that I teach all of my clients when they come to me, but when we deal with the history, especially in that first session, I kind of dive really deep into why you are the way you are, what it is that you're struggling with, and how the two are connected. And I show you how we can change it so that we can change your subconscious mind. We can change, your old beliefs, the negative beliefs, things that are, from your childhood programming that no longer serve you, right? So as most of you know, if you've been watching my videos, I talk about this quite often, but I do want to dive deeper a little bit. So the first 6 to 10 years, as we know, or if you don't know yet, that is where we get programmed with how the rest of our adult life is going to be like. There's a saying, show me a boy at 7 and I'll show you the man, right? And that is because what is imprinted on your subconscious is what is going to run your future as an adult, because 95% of your life is run by your subconscious mind, not your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is only 5%. So when you're making what you think is conscious decisions, they are actually fueled by the 95% of the subconscious mind. So whatever your programming is from your childhood, that is what is going to determine the choices that you make, the people that you choose, what you like, what you don't like, what you go for, what you don't go for, right? Your job, your money situation, relationships, whatever it is, that's where it comes from those beliefs that you got programmed with in your childhood. So we know this already, but what people typically don't know is your self-concept or your sense of self, your self-esteem, your self-worth, the value of who you are, right? Based on that subconscious programming, the childhood programming, the first 6 to 10 years of your life. That is where this self-concept is developed, the beliefs you have about you, about yourself, about you in, relationships, or what you're worthy of, when it comes to money and work and all of this, right? Your health, all of this. But your self-concept, how you feel about you, your sense of self, most people don't know this. It actually comes from, yes, it comes from the first 6 to 10 years of your childhood programming, but who it comes from, right, our primary caregivers, obviously, are what kind of shape this sense of self for us. But what it comes from is actually not from our mothers like we typically expect it to, because mothers, on a subconscious, deep-rooted instinct, because we are mammals, right? That animalistic instinct that we have within us, we know that mom gives birth to us. And so even if she's a bad mom or she wasn't a great mom, whatever it is, subconsciously, right, at that deep core instinctual level, we know she loves us. And so we, even if we didn't get that love and nurturing from our mom, that doesn't typically have a dramatic impact on your self-worth, your self-esteem, your self-concept, right, your identity. That self, sense of self actually comes from and is developed in our childhood programming from our dad, not from our mom, right? Yes, we can have mommy issues, but typically it's daddy issues that people have. And the reason is because instinctually, like I said, we know mom gave birth to us, carried us for 9 months. Like, she's typically supposed to be the one who loves us and nurtures us, because moms can only have so many children, right? But it is dad that can actually spread his seed everywhere. And so on an instinctual level, as a child, you just know this, right? Because it's that animal instinct within us. We just know, without knowing how babies are made, we just know that dad, that we have to be chosen by dad. Like we have that desire to be chosen by our dad, right? That instinct, that animal instinct that we have. So what happens is, dad can spread his seed anywhere, right? And so we know that we need to be chosen. This is why, you can come home with, let's say, a piece of art from school, grade 1 or whatever, and it's horrible looking, but mom is like, oh my God, it's so beautiful, I love it. And dad's like, what the heck did you do there? Right? Why'd you do that? I know you can do better. Or, dad says kind of like the honest truth about what it is. Mom likes to kind of wrap things up with roses, right? And be loving and supportive, but dad kind of, gives it to you straight. And so this is what I mean. On an instinct level, we just know that we want dad to choose us. So if you've had a father who was, maybe it's dramatic where dad left, right? Or dad wasn't in the picture, or you felt abandoned by your dad some way. But it doesn't even have to be that dramatic. It can even be just, back in the day, like when I grew up, dad's job was to go to work, make the money, pay the bills, put a roof over your head, food on the table, and make sure that you're safe and taken care of. And dad's job was finished, but actually it's not. Right now we know different. Now we know better, that dads also need to be there emotionally for their children. And so mom was there emotionally, but we have dad coming home and like sitting and, resting in front of the TV or reading the newspaper or, not paying attention to you. And as a child, we don't have this understanding. We don't have the intellectual understanding in the first 6 to 10 years to know what that means. In that case, let's say we'll use that example of, the old school kind of dad. Dad was really hardworking, doing the best that he could, took care of what he thought was your needs, right? And figured, mom's taking care of your emotional needs. That's fine. I don't have to do that. I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to rest. I'm going to relax so that I can be able to go to work and keep, providing for my family. As a child, we look at that as I'm being neglected. Like something's wrong with me. Dad doesn't pay attention to me. Dad doesn't love me. What's wrong with me? What do I need to do to get dad's attention? And this is where we get perfectionists, right? Because we feel as children like something's wrong with me, and that's why dad's not paying attention, or that's why dad left, or that's why dad's not here, or that's why dad abandoned me, right? Something is wrong with me. That's that identity, that self-identity, that sense of self, the self-esteem, the self-worth, the self-concept, that concept of who I am comes from my relationship to my dad, right? Comes from your relationship to your father. So take a look at that. What happened in your first 6 to 10 years with your dad, right? That's going to give you a really big indication to how you feel about yourself. Now, I always say this to my clients. Our parents did the best that they could with what they had, with what they knew, and what their childhood programming was. So this isn't about blaming or shaming, okay, you guys? This is, our parents did the best that they could. We forgive them. We move on. We accept. We understand. As children, we didn't. And so that's deeply embedded into our subconscious mind as our beliefs. If dad completely did a 180, and gave you everything you needed for you to have a very healthy sense of self and self-worth and self-esteem and self-concept, let's say at the age of 13, it wouldn't matter. It would not change your subconscious mind because that ship has sailed. Around 10 to 13, the ship has sailed. Dad could be everything that he should be for you. It wouldn't have mattered. It's already been solidified into your subconscious mind. The only person now that can change that is you. And how do you do that? Reprogramming the subconscious mind. We do this with different techniques like affirmations, repetition, mirror work, right? Self-concept work, the inner child healing. This is all a part of that. These are all techniques to be able to shift and change your subconscious beliefs about yourself that dad wasn't able to provide for you. And so now it is your job to do it, and you're the only one that can do it, okay? So we do not get our sense of self from mom. We don't get our sense of self even from ourselves or from our teachers or grandparents or, whatever it is. we get our sense of self in the first 6 to 10 years, especially that first 6, 7. It's pretty, solidified. So think of the first 6 to 7 years of your life, what happened with dad, and that will show you what your sense of self is. Okay, we get it from dad, not from mom or anywhere or anybody else. Okay, but now that we know this information, it's your job to make that shift and change. Okay, so I'm sure that most of you probably were not aware of this. I remember when I learned this information, it taught me so much, and I understood finally. And this is why inner child healing, meditations and work is really important, because you can go in and say to that little boy or little girl within you, hey, it's not your fault, right? Dad was that way because of his childhood programming. He was that way because, he thought that's what he was supposed to do. He didn't know what you needed. It's not your fault. It is not your fault. Okay? Now we have this understanding, and we can heal that little girl or little boy within us. All right, my loves? I hope that this was helpful for you. Don't forget to do all the things. Like this video, share this video with anybody that you think it might be helpful for, because typically this is one of the biggest aha moments for my clients, and it was for myself too. And as well, comment down below. Let me know, how this resonated for you. I love hearing from you guys and responding to all your comments. And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, please go ahead and do so. I would absolutely love to have you here as part of this ever-growing butterfly community. And yeah, keep working on yourselves, you guys. Keep reprogramming that subconscious mind and doing the inner child healing. And as always, I wish you all peace, love, and light. Until next time, bye bye.